Associative property of multiplication. So the associative property of multiplication is very similar to the associative property of addition. We are still referring back to the concept of associating items, which we talked about earlier as grouping. Putting things into groups, using those to kind of help us simplify a problem. Look at the math sort of from a different perspective. Now we're going to look at it from a very simple standpoint today. So we'll look at the first basic type of associative property of multiplication. Alright, so let's say that we have something that says solve. And the problem is given us as 3 times 5 times 2. And again, this is the quantity of 3 times 5 times 2. Now we could just do 3 times 5, which would be 15. Multiply that by 2, which would give us 30. But using this associative property, what this allows us to do is to regroup into a problem that looks like this. And again, why would we do this? Well, it's to make life simpler for us. So if we look at 5 times 2, that's 10. 10 times anything, we just have to add a 0 to the end. So in this case, we end up with 3 times the 10, which means our final answer comes out to be 30. Now again, on a very basic level, this may not seem like it's going to help much, but it does allow us to do things later on where we maybe have something like a fraction involved. So let's say I had a problem like this. Let's say I was asked to solve the problem of 3 times 1/2 times 12. And I want to know what that answer is. Okay, well, half of 3 is not a very clean number. We get 1.5. That's not a very nice number to work with. But if I could regroup this, and I could change this problem into 3 times the quantity of a 1/2 times 12. Okay, well now what's half of 12? Half of 12 works out nice. We end up with just 6. And then 3 times 6 gives us 18. A little bit easier than trying to figure out all the fractions and deal with those. So from a basic standpoint, if we're looking at associative property multiplication, we're looking at how do we regroup multiplication in order to simplify the problem.